So that's like my 20th landfall trigger of the turn. I'll make like 20 billion scoop swarms. Oh, yeah, they enter tapped. Oh, right, thank you for that. Let's get one thing out of the way right now. Kratos is a problem.
And I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically.
I would know that because I've played him, I've tested him, and he really holds up to the name of God of War. And before I get any further into the video, this is not technically a sponsor. I just wanted to shout out this very cool deck box made by 3DFi Shop. This is the Blades of Chaos that holds 100 cards and slots perfectly to become my Kratos God of War deck box. I posted the link down below in the description if you want to go check it out for yourself. Again, this is not sponsored. I just want to shout out this amazing deck box, so let's get right back into it. In the games, he's normally a protagonist, but not anymore. He is the antagonist. He will become the arch enemy of your opponents, and ultimately will become the final boss your opponents didn't sign up to fight on a casual night of Friday Night Magic. Kratos doesn't just turn a game of Commander into a battlefield, he turns it into a war zone. So let's just be serious for a moment. What makes Kratos God of War so special? After all, he is a mono red commander, and everyone loves to joke that red is one of the worst colors in Commander. However, Kratos is the exception, because what sets him apart isn't just his power, it's the pressure he applies from the moment he hits the battlefield.
Zeus! Zeus!
See, most mono red commanders want to do something cute, make some treasures, do some spellslinger, even make some goblins. And on the flip side, Kratos does not do any of that. He isn't here for value, he is here for violence. Kratos introduces a new style of gameplay, which is attack or suffer the consequences.
You're goddamn right.
He rewards aggression and he punishes pacifists. And you know who those players are. They don't want to swing at anybody because they don't want to make enemies. They want to sit back, draw cards, smile and wave until their life flashes before their eyes. And ultimately they will get destroyed by Kratos' ability. Not because he's comboing off, but because he's forcing them into a playstyle they don't want. And that's the funny part. Against Kratos, your strategy really doesn't matter. Ultimately, your will does. The fact that he grants every creature haste means he's giving everyone the option to choose violence. Of course, he has greater acts of violence, having double strike, and if your opponent's creatures decide not to attack, he's going to deal damage to them based off of how much creatures they don't attack with. And honestly, that's where things really get out of hand, because Kratos is already efficient in-your-face commander, but when you add damage doublers and damage triplers like Sulfin Mayhem Dominus, Twin Flame Tyrant, or even Fire Emancipation, the game's going to be closing out way quicker than your opponents even realize. So damage doublers are pretty crazy, but that's not even the evil part. Of course, Kratos punishes players for not attacking. Why not add cards that make it impossible for them to attack? And you thought the devil was evil? Wait till you see this. Why not include cards that make anything make opponents' creatures enter the battlefield tapped, can't attack, or even goad other opponents into swinging at each other? All this combined will turn Kratos into an unstoppable punishing engine. And this is where Kratos basically becomes a comedy. Your opponents can't physically attack you, and Kratos is like, well, you didn't meet your quota for violence, better pay your taxes through pain. So in a way, this is mono red group hug Stax, if that even makes sense. You're giving group hug to everybody, giving them haste, but you are playing cards like Urabrask, which will make their creatures enter tapped, and in turn, Kratos will deal damage to that opponent because they're not attacking, because they enter tapped. All the while your opponents are getting frustrated at the fact that they can't attack with creatures, they're entering tapped. You could go ahead and swing against them with Kratos and all his weapons. Throughout all the games, he collects many different weapons to defeat the gods. Some of my personal favorites have combat triggers, most notably the sword cycle. I prefer ones like Sword of Fire and Ice, which will get you a card draw, but because Kratos has double strike, you will essentially double trigger that. The same can apply to many of the different swords, like Sword of Wealth and Power, getting 2 treasure tokens, and copying an instant or sorcery spell twice, or even Sword of Hearth and Home, getting you 2 mountains on the battlefield and blinking 2 targets. You could also throw in some equipment like Shadow Spear to give Kratos lifelink every time you deal damage to opponents, whether you're dealing combat damage or if they're just not attacking with their creatures. In turn, you're going to gain that much life depending on how much damage you deal, and most likely you're going to need as much life orbs as you can in order to stay alive, because people are going to come at you and come at you hard, because again, you are the final boss of the game and essentially your arch enemy #1 at the table. So this deck wins through violence, but of course it can win through commander damage. I mentioned the swords, but also you can apply some great equipment opponent, like Commander's Plate, Kratos will get +3/+3 and protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. So all those people laughing at red saying red sucks, they'll have to face up against Kratos and get punished for their sins. Also utilize a card like Gornog the Red Reaper, which is fitting because in Greek mythology, Minotaurs are well known. He'll make it so that cowards can't block warriors, and he will make your warriors turn your opponent's creatures into cowards when they attack them, and buff them up too, giving them +X/+0 for the amount of cowards on the battlefield, because let's be real, most of the cowards we're going to be facing are going to be on the battlefield, not attacking.
Zeus! Is this how you face me, coward?
So let's answer the big question. Is Kratos actually one of the strongest mono red commanders ever printed? Absolutely. And here's why. He pressures every opponent equally. He punishes cowards who do not want to attack. He rewards aggression. He scales with damage doublers. He turns the whole table into forced combat. And he turns your decisions into an act of war. And that's also the real neat part about Kratos, is the fact that he doesn't need any big combos. He doesn't need infinite mana. He doesn't need wheels or storm turns. He wins by doing what red does best: punch first, ask questions never. He's fast, he's brutal, he's table warping, and from my experience, he's just flat out fun. So in a general sense, and what I'm trying to say, Kratos isn't just another commander, he is a warning and also a promise. He's a reminder that some decks don't just play magic, they absolutely end it. And if you want a commander that punishes hesitation and will annihilate your opponent's side of the battlefield, you've come to the right place, because Kratos is on a vengeance path and will not hesitate to destroy any opponent that comes his way.